Okay. Welcome to Dabble Deep, guys. This is Ben. No, hold on. Okay. Welcome back, or welcome to Dabble Deep. I'm Tara. This is Ben. This is Ella. And our podcast is just us having a little chat. You could say we're dabbling deep. All right. How are you guys? How are you?
How are we feeling?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
We're good about this.
Yeah. We'll have a little small talk. Why don't we?
A plus already. We're outside.
Yeah.
It's better than last week and their last 2 weeks. It's been a while actually. And the rainy car and stuff. It's like a dingy morning. Like the snow fell and stuff. We're actually outside again.
We got
It's a little depressing and dead looking, but it does the trick.
Yeah. I feel rejuvenated.
Mm-hmm.
My skin is glowing. I got a little sun. I went out to tan the other day, and I could feel myself just glowing. So
That's great.
Perfect.
yeah.
Where do we want to start? Where do we
Where's there to start?
push off for the day from?
Hey, I know where to start.
All right.
I got something to complain about.
Alright, let's hear.
So around my house, right, there's a lot of construction going on. And you guys know this, to one side is a big bridge being constructed. It's blocking off the whole road. I can't turn right anymore. So I always have to turn left to wherever I'm going. And so this morning I saw that there was some more roadwork construction ahead signs than usual.
Oh boy.
So
Oh boy.
so I turn to the left and I
start.
see, bam, a big dump truck right there. And so I'm stuck there, right? Apparently they're redoing the road. They're expanding the road right
Again?
next to my house.
Didn't
to
they
the
just
left
do
of
that
me.
road?
No!
Oh wait, they did it.
I think they kind of did. No,
Oh, they're doing
did.
the rest.
They
They're doing
did.
the closer part now?
No, they're expanding it. They're adding a whole nother lane, I guess.
Why?
So,
They just
Beats me.
redid that road 6 months ago, did they not?
no, they did. So, this is definitely for the bridge, though. They're expanding the road because they're adding another lane to the bridge, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so I passed that. It's all good. I go farther down, right next to the speed camera. There's another truck. There's another stop with somebody with a little sign going, ear. And there's 2 construction areas that I have to pass every single day for who knows how long. So,
I feel like every time I go to your house, there's something different going on your road.
listen, I can't get away from it.
They're slowly, completely rebuilding the valley.
Oh.
This winter really did a number on the roads. I don't know how it is around here, but next to my house, the roads are screwed up. There's 10 times more potholes. And I'm going down the road and it's bouncing the car out and stuff. It's ridiculous. And it's never caused this much damage from one winter, but I guess this one was exceptionally cold. So
This winter was crazy.
I'm so glad we're pretty much done now. I mean, it snowed yesterday though.
True.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
was,
That was
really
not-
bad yesterday.
That was very unconsensual on the weather's part.
Tomorrow's supposed to go up to 65 though.
Mine
so.
was up to 70.
Well.
Well.
We'll see who's right.
And then I think it goes back down to 30s and 40s.
Yeah, it's the 40s for the next week.
Yeah. So we have to enjoy this while
Oh man.
Yeah, time to go on vacation. I think I'm going down south.
down south. Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
Take a trip to Florida.
So, as far as new music goes, we had a pretty big week for music, right?
And yeah, we did.
Some good country stuff released too. How do you say his name? Bon Oliver or Bon Iver?
Bon Iver.
Okay, I was really far off. Oh man. Okay, so Bon Iver
That's
released.
terrible.
Was it a single or an EP?
I think it was an EP.
Okay, yeah, it was pretty good. I skimmed through it a little bit. The big one this week was Playboy Cardi and Music. Finally dropped. Did you go through it?
I did.
First opinions.
Didn't like it.
Okay.
It sounded like just a bunch of sound effects in my ear. It
like
was a
a
little all
trash
over the place. I was
compactor.
never a Cardi fan to begin with. So
Yeah. He kind of the dude Swamp Izzo, and he kept like Swamp Izzo. Okay, that was really annoying. And then plus the one song had like 15 gunshots in it. Like every couple was like ruined the song.
It's like ear rape.
So
it's terrible.
I happened to listen to that album while I was at work. It's a funny story, but not really. It wasn't funny at the time. So I was at work. I was doing my thing. I had my headphones in, and I'm not going to lie. I was getting pretty hype. I was the only one at this place. So I'm running around. I'm doing my thing. I was trying to get done fast. I decided I needed to get something from the other room across this warehouse. So I run, like sprint, to the other side of this room. Well, like, I think I was saying, like, Kendrick or something because I was listening to the song. So I plow my way into this room. I'm practically galloping at this point. And I stopped in my tracks. There was someone standing in, like, this little kitchenette that they have, like, staring at me. And, like, they thought I was, like, charging at them. So I, like, ripped off my headphones. I was like, oh, I am so sorry. I had no idea anybody was here. They're like, oh, it's okay. I didn't want to scare you because you had your headphones on. It was the most awkward experience. And instead of, like, explaining myself, I just put my head down and walked away. So that happened.
You walked away?
Yeah, I was like, she asked about the door or something. I was like, yeah, you just lock it on your way out. And she's like, all right. And I was like, my bad. And I walked away. No explanation. There was no, like, getting out of that. But now that I look back, I'm like, dang, I should have been like, yeah, I was just getting hyped to some music. Because, like, there's no business a full-grown man should have been running in that room like that. At 7:30 in the morning,
That's
mind
crazy.
you.
That's actually wild.
First thing in the morning,
Crazy
getting
work.
charged at by, like, a bowl.
A bowl of a man.
Dude, if
But-
I was her, I would have, like...
She, like,
I don't
put
know
her
where
hand
I
up. She's
was
like, I'm
going.
sorry, I didn't want to scare you. She probably thought I heard someone and was, like, running to, like, figure out what it was, even though I had no idea anybody was there.
That's hilarious.
I was just being me, so.
Oh,
Whole bowl.
But yeah.
crazy.
That's funny.
Another music release. Did you listen to the new Sleep Token song?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you like it?
I
Oh,
think I
no.
only listened to it once. I don't really remember what it was.
No, it's so good. You don't understand. And then I'm getting into the lore of it too. Apparently, there's like a whole story. So
Does he do
I'm-
mostly covers or?
no,
Because I know, like, every time I, like, shuffle his stuff, I find, like, he only does covers.
you can't shuffle it because then it like brings up the weird ones. You have to go through the whole album.
I don't know. That doesn't sound too promising.
Trust me, it's good. I
Don't
swear.
shuffle.
I swear.
Gotta weed out the bad.
Yeah, you do.
Spotify's shuffle's the worst.
It's the worst. I shuffled my playlist this morning, and it's my musical playlist. So I have like Hamilton and Disney songs on there and stuff. And I only listen to like the Hamilton stuff usually. So I'll skip through it. Hamilton. It wasn't Hamilton whatsoever. It was all the other songs that I didn't want to listen to. It sucked.
It's like the same pattern each time. Like, I know, like, I got like 3,000 songs in my like songs, and I usually just shuffle
God.
that. And it's always, I've never heard anything new. Once in a blue moon, I'll be like, oh my gosh, it'll be amazing because I'll hear something I haven't heard in a while. But other than that, it's always the same, like, repeats, and it's always the worst, like, old stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but like, if I find a song that I don't like in my playlist, I don't remove it. Like, I know I'm not going to want to hear it again, but I don't
Yeah,
remove it. I just
you're
leave it in
actually
there.
lazy.
Keep saying it.
I can't be bothered, like, removing songs and stuff. That's too much work.
Creepy van.
Yeah, I don't know.
Watch me.
The
know,
great
guys.
outdoors.
Corey's ready to
It's
slide
our
open
secret
that
guest.
door. Always come here.
Ooh.
He's gonna slide
Where's
that
he
door
going?
open.
Yeah, it's
He's
gonna
gonna go
kidnap us. Oh, look at that. That's creepy.
All right, guys.
God,
Second
pepper
part of the
spray.
episode, we are in the back of this van.
Change of scenery. We're in the back of the van.
We got our guest, the kidnapper. Who knows what he's gonna do to us? I
We
don't
need a
know.
special guest.
Yeah.
Special guest kidnapper. Dap him up. Bring him on the podcast.
Yeah. They can
On a
make
real
friends.
note, though, like, how's your life been going? Like, in general.
Ooh.
That complete switch of topic. Like, I just
Man,
boom.
you just slammed that.
Yeah.
I don't know. My life's been pretty boring recently. I'm kind of just waiting it out till summer, and then that's when it'll get interesting. When I graduate and have all my events and stuff, and I do whatever I do in the summer.
What are you gonna do in the summer? Whatever are you gonna do?
Ooh. I don't know,
Expand.
like camping trips. I'll be going back to my
yeah.
summer camp to council for 2 weeks, and
Leaving me for 2 weeks.
yeah,
Before you
and
leave me
then
for 8 months.
yeah, and then August I leave, so early August. But Yeah.
Do you have any good stories from counseling? Top of your head, like, man, I really remember when fill in the blank happened.
I gotta think about that one. I don't know. My cabins were pretty like tame. I don't think I really had a problem. Ooh, okay. This is kind of weird, but like one of my campers, I could tell there's something up with them. Like I know they're a little queer, you could say. They're a little queer. And as a counselor, you're always with your campers, right? You're constantly with them. So of course they're gonna get attached to you. So this one camper, she got a little attached, got a little touchy. I was like, girl, leave me some space, And then I found out that she was gay, and then blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. You could take it from there.
It's a rough situation just because, like, you can't really, like, necessarily, I mean, relatively younger, right?
Yeah.
You can't,
younger middle school.
It's hard tackling that because you can't just, like, come out and, like, say stuff, You got to be really careful. So it's a hard situation. Like, you think mostly, like, childcare jobs and stuff are, like, relatively easy. You get to mess around. But there are times, especially when they get older and start, like, they might, like, bring up a topic and stuff. Like, little kids repeat everything they hear. And you might get put in some really rough situations where you can't, like, obviously, for whatever reason, you can't have that conversation with them. But then, like, you're in this weird where you got to sort of, like, lie to them or make them forget. But, like, they never forget. They're always going to, like, once they get something in their mind, it's, like, it's ingrained. And they're going to keep bringing that up and bugging you about it. So.
Yeah, a lot of the kids also had, like, a hard upbringing as well with their parents and stuff. So that's mostly what they would be talking about and bringing up. And it got pretty uncomfortable at times because that's what they would bring up all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to, like, talk to kids like that and comfort them and try to give your best advice when there's not much you can do about it. But yeah.
Then you always gotta think, like, whatever I tell this impressionable child is gonna go back to their parents and stuff.
Right.
And, like, if you don't say the right thing, then, like, you can get in big trouble and stuff. It's just It's like that's a really rough situation, especially when stuff like that comes up.
Yeah. It's hard, but thankfully, like, my training for that, it's a 3-year long program, and, like, they go in depth of what you should do and all of that. But, like, when you're in the moment and, like, it's your first time counseling, it's really difficult. But yeah.
What about you, Ella? Anything interesting happening?
Interesting? Not camping interesting, honestly. Low-key just taking every single day, one day at a time. I got an amazing boyfriend. Work has been going great now that it's getting better outside. Honestly, life's pretty good right now. I'm not even gonna lie. We're kind of just, like, living it up in this gap year. I'm excited for this summer. I'm excited to start going to school in August. But until then, one day at a time, and it's going
the 10-year gap year.
Okay, it's
Let
been like
the
10
gap
months.
year binge begin.
That's hilarious.
What about future plans? You got anything on the horizon? Anything you want to do? And your like long-term career goals?
Long term. Uh-oh.
Just off the top of your head, anything like you think like that's something I want to pursue?
I know that cosmetology school is what I'm gonna be doing this whole next year, but I don't know. I have to think about that because it's like cosmetology school has always been like the end plan, but I don't want that to be like the only thing that I'm doing in my life. I want to still like be able to travel, especially after school is done and I'm like set in a job, because this will give me a lot more freedom to travel around. So yeah, I think I need to think about that a lot more.
From what I know, I think cosmetology students are like, it's a rough time for them. You're doing a lot of like very underpaid to little to no pay like internships and stuff. You're helping out.
You're dealing with a lot of
it's hard to
people.
get out there.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
It's definitely hard to get out there. You're dealing with a lot of different people on a very low pay during school. So it's hard to keep the mindset like, I'm getting to something better, I swear. But until then, you just gotta like, I don't know, thug it out, I guess.
Gonna full sign, you're gonna get the bowl on your head and like cut around it, get a bowl cut. Oh my gosh, that'd be sick. I want to see like I want to see Ella with a bowl cut. That sounds like
That would be crazy.
astronomical. I don't know. That sounds
Should we get the
ridiculous.
poll? Should we do it next podcast?
Yeah.
I think this hair could go. I don't know. It's getting pretty long.
The
It's time to
dabble
do
deep
something
buzz
new.
cut, like we all like share our deepest like
Ooh.
secrets as we get our hair chopped off.
my
But
God,
like
that'd be crazy.
I'm already there.
Well-
I don't have to share a lot of secrets.
Yeah, share a little
it's
bit
my
more.
brain is
Sharon's got a little
exposed.
more. My whole brain's gonna be like exposed.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I'm waiting
No.
for you to cut my hair.
You're never gonna let me cut your hair.
I still want it like shoulder length, but I'm too scared to come
Dude,
in.
we could do that. And if
You ever see
don't
those
like it,
videos where they
yeah.
like try to cut their bangs and it always messes up in the same way, and they still do it like
Oh,
they
it's
twist it, and then it's
hilarious.
like this little like rainbow on their forehead or
Yeah.
something, and then they start screaming. They're like, "I can fix it! I can fix
They're
it!"
like, "I know
and then
I'm not
and then they
supposed
like
to do
they
this."
do it like a V shape like this, trying
Yeah,
to fix
yeah,
it, and it's just
yeah.
like, and then it's got like just like a couple strands,
Nope.
like little like this, like little antennae.
Yeah. Oh.
They just screw themselves so
Crazy,
bad. They're like, I
crazy
know I
work.
shouldn't do this as they're twisting it. And they take the scissors.
They're
they
like,
go
"Are you sure? Are you sure?" And then they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna do
Like,
it."
"I'm just
and
gonna
then
do
then
it."
they like stop. They're like, "Oh my gosh," and then they like realize, and then they like scream or
And
something.
then they like brush it
Yeah.
out, and it's like, no,
Oh,
it's
that's how I
bad.
felt when I got curtain bangs. That was like
That wasn't.
it was like 2020 when I got my hair cut because my hair used to be like down here. It was really long. And then I got it cut like up to here, and then I got curtain bangs, and I could not style them whatsoever. So it was like little antennas like out to here. And my hair is curly, so my hair is all curly, but these little pieces are straight and they're just sticking out. It
A
looked really
windy
bad.
day hates to see you coming.
It was terrible.
You like look at the weather, you're like, I can't go outside this day.
Looks at the forecast Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll be
I didn't have to
inside.
because I was quarantined anyway, but.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
What did your guys' quarantine look like?
Boring.
Boring?
Yeah.
Terrible.
I think I was going into freshman year. So. Yeah.
Was that freshman year?
Wait. No, yeah, because when it started, I was finishing up 8th grade. And then. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It was kind of eventful because I went to Disney and nobody was there. Like in 2020, like late 2020.
I went to Disney in 2020.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So that was
Pretty
very
awesome.
eventful, I guess.
I know. The weirdest thing in Disney was you didn't have to wear your mask outside, but every time you went inside, you had to put like a mask on.
Yeah.
But it would be like you'd put your mask on and nobody would be in there. Like
Yeah.
anywhere you went inside, nobody would be inside. And you just have to put your mask on and then you have to come back out and take your mask off. Where
Did
a ton
the-
of people would be outside.
Did the
But
actors
I
wear
don't know.
masks?
What?
Did the actors wear masks?
Did they wear masks?
I don't remember. I don't know if
I
they
don't
were even
recall.
out. No, they didn't because most of them were like far, far away.
They were like up in
They were-
buildings.
Yeah, it's like you're spying
Waving
on
down
them with
at us.
binoculars.
They'd be like, hello peasants. It was the
It was really
funniest
funny.
thing ever.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, my acne was raging too because I was wearing a mask. That was terrible. That was the worst.
There's so many scenarios. Like if you, because back then I wouldn't wear contacts, so like my glasses would always fog up
Oh, no.
from the breath coming up.
Not
It was bad.
The inch thick lenses.
Yeah, I got really
Bug
thick
out
glasses.
your
I had a terrible prescription. It was the pits. I just honestly, only thing I remember from COVID was sitting my fat ass on the game and playing all day long.
But that was the start of your your working out and stuff.
Well,
right?
that got me to a point where I needed to start working out.
the
That
journey
pushed me over. I
began.
was a big kid growing up, but
Yeah.
like that pushed me over the. I'm still a big guy, but like that did me in. And then like 2021, I started lifting, and I've been on it ever since. This last couple 6 months have been rough, but we're locking back in for this year.
Well, I can't for this.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Get your bikini body. Summer
Yeah.
body.
Bikini body.
bikini body. Bikini bed.
Ooh.
Like do one of those like old dudes at the beach with like the tiniest speedo on.
Oh, their butt
They're-
cheeks like hanging out.
They get to the edge of the water, they put their hands on their heads, they're like ankle deep in the water looking out there with the Birkenstocks on.
Oh.
Stop.
Oh man, they got like the really long white chest hair.
Yeah. Oh, that's
What?
disgusting. Oh.
A
And their
beer or
armpit
something.
hair is like down to
And
here.
they just stand there with their hands on their hips, like examining the water, like ankle deep or whatever.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
What a day. What a day. What a day to
What
be
a
at the
day.
This is what life is like. This is like what true. This is what it means to live.
beach. This is is what it means to be free.
Let it all out.
Oh. Okay, I had a little side story. You mentioned camp, and I was talking with someone the other day. I'm not gonna name any names. I'm not exposing anybody, but he was telling me about a story from a guy he knows.
All right.
And basically, he was somewhat of a camp counselor, but he was, at this point, I'm pretty sure he's a grown adult, okay?
Okay.
So he was coming into one of the cabins, all right, and he was having some intestinal trouble, okay?
Okay.
And basically, he crapped himself in the doorway of this cabin, okay? And he's a leader, mind you. And so, in the process of this, apparently it happened to just come out of his pant leg. So, it is now in the doorway of this cabin. And instead of taking ownership, okay, he goes to the staff and was like, someone had an accident in there. Don't worry about it, though. I'm going to clean it up. But just so you know, there was an accident in that cabin.
Oh, that's terrible.
That is insane.
So he just
like,
so happens to just like.
yeah, and like it just shimmied out of his legs. Give it a little leg shake and be like, oh wait, something's on the floor. It's still like, steaming.
Okay.
Who's the unlucky perpetrator here? Some little kid got blamed for that.
Culprit.
Oh,
God.
I just
Some little
imagine
kid was
it's
like, man, I have a stomach ache. They're like, he did it.
I imagine it's like an abnormally large doo-doo. Not come from
Like
a
an
kid.
adult. Like it's like bigger than the kid's head. It turns out they're like all in diapers or something.
Is that doo-doo?
With that on the ground.
Is that doo-doo?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Oh, I know who this culprit is.
I talked a little bit last week about some of my plans for the summer. I did have a phone interview. I'm waiting to hear back. I should hear back tomorrow for that Yosemite position. I got a little more information and stuff. Kind of starting to rethink it a little bit.
Wait, actually?
If anything, just holding off a little bit.
Like,
I realize I might be jumping into something that, because like I don't know, I'm kind of looking at like this as like a reset to my life and sort of like the fix all, and I'm really starting to notice like it doesn't really work that way. There's things that I need to take control of now to like set myself up for success that aren't going to be fixed by moving away to another state and doing something fun.
Yeah.
But it's definitely still an option. I have to see what happens when I get the offer, but there's stuff I can be doing now to improve my current situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like, honestly, that's just like a big part of, I guess, growing up, honestly. I feel like every day, like, I'm learning something new, and there's a lot of things I'm starting to, like, I guess, take accountability for. Because, you know, like, as a kid, you know, you don't want to get in trouble, obviously. So, like, you, like any little kid, like, you know, he's got, like, the glitter on his mouth or in his hands or whatever. He's like, she did it or whatever. And she's, like, sitting on the couch or something. Mm-hmm. And, like, I feel like that's one of the big parts growing up is, like, taking that step and taking accountability for your actions and starting to, like, take a step back. Just, like, take a moment and realize, like, there's stuff I can be doing right now that I'm avoiding or setting aside that I need to put in front of the reward, if you will, and work on those things before I jump to like the fun part, you know. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean like you can't go do fun stuff and have crazy things, but like there's definitely things to prioritize. I don't know what you guys, like, what your opinion is on that, but I just been thinking about that a lot.
That's
yeah,
good.
I think you can kind of get stuck in the, like, I need to go somewhere else to change my environment and work on myself and find myself. Like, a lot of people will go to a different country to find themselves, and
It does work for a lot of people, though.
it does,
Think
but
about
sometimes you have to change your environment, like, where you're at. Sometimes going to a different place is just going to make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll be like, I was fine here, but now that I'm back here, I feel terrible, and, like, I'm back to where I was. That just means that I think, like, just change where you're at now, and then if you feel called to another place, like, later on, or going to a different state or country or whatever it is, then, like, go for it. But definitely changing the place that you're at the moment is probably going to be more beneficial than going somewhere else for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Ella said, it does, like, it is helpful. It does help you. Sometimes it is the right choice, but most, like, people tend to focus on the good parts when they tell you about it. They're not obviously thinking about the bad parts. If it was an overall good experience, that doesn't mean there's definitely, like, trials involved, and that usually doesn't, like, get brought up as much unless it was an overall bad experience. Whatever the outcome is weighs how you think of the situation together.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, sure, it might solve some stuff, and it definitely would in general, but, like, in the end, it's always gonna have its own aspect. Like, I feel like most of the time in my life, I have this mindset of this needs to happen for this to happen and stuff, and, like, I can't do this without this, you know.
Yeah.
Whether that's, like, even just, like, being, it's just about the basic gist of what I'm saying is you gotta work out your current situation, you know.
Yeah.
It's not always an option to, like, run into something else, which I'm not saying don't, you know, it's got its place in time, but, like, sometimes I'm realizing it's really important just to, you know, stabilize yourself in your current situations, stuff like that. I'm kind of repeating myself here, but yeah.
It depends on the mindset of the person. Like, if you think about it, if you're in a good spot before you leave and you leave, you're going to think about, instead of being like, I'm going to have to go back to this place eventually, I'm going to get to go back to this place eventually because you were in a good spot when you left instead of this terrible situation you were in before you left.
And then you're, like, dreading to go back. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, take just plain old nostalgia, you know.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of that, because when you look back, like, everybody raves about 2016 and stuff, like,
Oh, yeah.
peak life and how it used to be so good and all this stuff. In the end, like, if you were, like, right now, if we were to snap our fingers and, like, we were back in 2016, like, living in it, especially like the younger generation who, like, grew up in that time, who were still younger in, like, their early teens, you know, pre-K, stuff like that, like, just whenever your brain is, like, really starting to develop and, like, you have true memories of being, like, aware of your situation, all the bad stuff and just, like, the easiness of being, like, a young child, like, that's all you think about. But, like, if you were to live in that time, if we, like, right now, how we are with everything we know, were to jump back to then and live, like, in that time, sure, there's some stuff that would be different. I'm not gonna lie, like, there is circumstances that change, but in the end, we would have had our own problems back then, you know. It wouldn't have been, like, the perfect thing ever, you know. And in the, like, it's just we tend to block out the bad stuff, especially with memories, and then just, like, then you spend your time just, like, daydreaming about when times were good, when in reality, fast forward 2 or 3 years, you might be dreaming about the time you're, like, currently living, you know.
Yeah. And, like, even now I'm like, oh, I can't wait until I'm older, like, till I'm 21, and then when I'm 21 I'll probably be like, can't wait till I'm 25, and then it'll just keep going on. And, like, I'm sure, like, as a kid you guys were like, I want to be 16 and have my license, and then when you're 16, so it's just kind of like a cycle that it's changing your mindset to get out of it. But yeah,
Well, even if, when you think about it, it's not like constantly wanting to get older and older. It's like, if you're 16, say you're 16, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I'm 18, I'm an adult, and I get to do all these things. And then you turn 18, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could go back
yeah,
to being 13, 14, 15, because those were, like, the good old days when everything was simple and easy.
Yeah.
Even when you're, like, 13, 14, 15, I remember being like, I wish I could just go back to when it was, like, 7, 8, 9. Because
Yeah.
those were, like, the easy days. But when you think about it, you were a kid,
yep,
and kids have a certain sense of innocence and purity
yeah,
that we obviously don't have now, most likely. But, like, you grow more and you get more, like, stuff in your head, and you, like, find a lot more stuff out about this world that we're living in
Yeah.
than this home that you were in, this bubble you were in that you were a kid, especially being homeschooled.
Oh yeah.
Especially being homeschooled as a
Yeah.
kid. As you get older, you learn a lot more what's going on in the world than what was your world as a little kid.
Yeah.
It's exactly
sure.
what I was like. You like said everything that was on my mind. Yeah, and then you always say like you said, like sometimes a lot of times I just want to go back, you know,
Yeah.
like because like of course when you're growing up, I remember specifically, I have this like thought ingrained in my mind. I remember one time, I don't know how old I was, I was probably about 10 years old, and I remember I was in the car and I saw this what I thought to be a teenager, you know, walking down the street, and I told my mom, I said, I cannot wait to be a teenager. And she was like you don't wish that, you know, it'll come soon enough, and whenever you have it, you'll want to go back. And like all these tips and stuff, like even like nowadays I'll see stuff where it's like middle-aged guys, what's a piece of advice you'd give to like a young adult guy or girl, whatever, young adult in general, and you see all this stuff and it's kind of the same thing each time, but like you realize they're saying the stuff that we're going to say at that age. And just looking at it, it doesn't have the impact that it's going to have when we get to that point. We're going to be like, yeah, like they were totally right. And like that's scary at the same time. It's just, I guess it's just a circle of life, but like especially now, it's scary how fast stuff's going by, and it's like just pump the brakes a little bit, because like all this like growing up that's happening, like it comes with privileges, but it comes with a lot more responsibilities. And like sure, now you can drive or do whatever, but you get to pay taxes, you know, you have to work. You gotta be an adult and do all the things, you know. And it can get rough, but like that's just life, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like adapting to it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just gotta stay present though. It's the biggest thing with me. Like I have a problem with being in the moment and actually recognizing that like I'm conscious and I'm in this moment and I'm with my friends, or like I'm doing this thing. Even if I don't like it, I'm like, I still have to be aware, you know, and I don't know.
It's like
just
being
be more
aware of like
present.
not getting trapped in a cycle of like waking up, going to work, hanging with friends, going to sleep, going to the gym. Like all those things are like really good, but it's like good to like not get like stuck in like a cycle of it, you know, where it's just like a routine at this point, and there's nothing spontaneous anymore, and it's just like your schedule that you're like stuck on. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I talked about that a little bit in the end of our Michigan video. And like I already like look back at that video, I'm like, man,
I
I
love
missed
that
that.
video.
That was such a good trip, and like
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to take like cinematography and like videography more serious, is because if I'm not like, maybe I might not like make it in like the content world, but I'll always have something to look back on. I'm so glad I did that Michigan video. It captured like all, and then you can just log on and look at that whenever you want, and just like be like dang, like we had a lot of fun.
I'll just skip to certain parts of that video. I won't even watch the whole thing. I'll just skip to my favorite parts and be like, oh, I remember that part. That was really fun.
And then you're like,
Yeah.
like all these memories and
Man.
stuff, and then
Yeah.
it gets you thinking. It's like, man, I wish I took even more time than I took originally to appreciate it. And like
Yeah.
some like Ella, like Tara said, you gotta like. It's hard being in the moment, because there's always something next, and like that's how. And chasing that next is gonna make time fly 10 times faster if you're just living for that next event, which I'm 100% guilty of. I am like the biggest like perpetrator when it comes to that stuff. I always got my mind on the next thing. I always have, and it's just something like it's really hard to get rid of that, and I honestly haven't figured out how to yet. But when you like really stop and just take your time,
Yeah.
it's so important, and it's so like it's really good for you. You're gonna have way more to like think back on, and then just less regrets. Like, man, I regret not. I don't know, saying no to that early morning like sunrise hike because I wanted to get another little bit of like couple minutes of sleep or whatever, you know, stuff like that. When you say like, you know, I can get to sleep later on, or I can catch up online later on. Let's get out and do something, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna always have that. And whenever you just like do your normal day-to-day like routine and live in that, it's all gonna blend together. And it already is. Like for me, like every day is like roughly the same, and I only got my mind set on the next thing, and just like taking your time and appreciating just like the normalcy of every day, and just like the privilege that you have at this time, and accepting the fact that you may not always have this situation available to you. Like it's just a really important thing, you know.
It is. It definitely is.
It's good.
Yeah.
And then as far as like, there's always like these wake up calls, like
Oh my god.
like you're gaining awareness, like it's like these like it's like a little like a boom,
Yeah.
you know, like a
Yeah.
little bang in your life. So I have a little story from just a couple days ago. I was with a friend and I'm trying to lock back into my diet and stuff. We went out to eat, and I was looking at the menu and I was like, oh, I don't know if I should get this, man. Like, should I? Like asking him like his opinion, and he like looked at me and he's like, I don't know, man. Like, you got free will, and like I don't know. That hit me like a truck.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of just looking for someone to tell me no. You know, I'll be completely honest. And in this like day to day, like especially growing up, like you go to your parents for that, and like deep down, especially getting older, you're always looking for that guidance. You know, you want to be led, and that kind of pans in the shifting accountability, because like if you're not making your own choices, deep down you can say, well, it's this person's fault for letting me do that. You know, and it's hard accepting the fact that like once you get to a certain point, like this is on you. This decisions you make affect you on a day-to-day basis. And for me at least, that's like a big reminder to stay more mindful about the things I do, the decisions I make, because in the end it is your decision, and it can have big effects, both good and bad. And sometimes it just takes like the realization that's like, I gotta make this move for myself and nobody else, you know, and I don't got someone tell me what to do, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I had a big bus hit me the other day too. It's a miracle I'm alive. But I am doing this big project for something called American Heritage Girls, and it's my last year in this thing, and there's an award called Stars and Stripes, and it's kind of like Eagle Scout, but the Christian Girl Scout version of it. And I have like a lot of nerves about it and a lot of stress, and there's a lot of things going on with it, and things going badly, things that I'm figuring out, and all this stuff. So I was talking to my dad about it the other day, and he was just like, yeah, well, God has a plan for it. Like, even though you have doubts about it and you're stressing out about it, and maybe the people that you want to help aren't helping you, and all this stuff, like God's got a plan for it, and you just have to trust him. It's up to you to trust him about it. And so, I don't know, I've just been thinking about that a lot, not just with this project, but with just like everything else, like with this summer, and then Montana, and what's going to come after Montana. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. But I have the comfort of knowing that like God is leading me in a certain path, and that I just need to trust his will, and that's going to take so much stress off me and so much nerves off of me. So but it's a big thing. Yeah,
it's a really important mindset to have, because I'll be honest, like that's not the first thing that comes to my mind. The first thing that comes to mind is how I'm gonna, you know, make money in the future or whatever. And like this whole conversation we had before you said that, like that was honestly nowhere on my mind. And it's so easy to forget that like he always has a plan, and sometimes you just got to let him guide you. And I'll see all this stuff that the people talk about. It's like, you got to be very careful what you're living your life for, because sure, it's got its place, but like, are you really going to want to throw your entire like first 40 free years of your life away in a cubicle somewhere? I don't know about you guys, but like that, I'm not trying to do that. And sometimes like, I guess like just society and like culture has shifted so much in the past, like say 100 years, like it's completely reversed. Like the entire like goal of like your life is like different now. Yeah, they worked then, but like you still had like people that like they lived, you know, they no internet. They were like out in the world like doing things, and they were like there wasn't like depression and stuff. Like sure, yeah, a little bit. You got like typical like human feelings, but like not as like normalized and like it's like commercialized now. Stuff like that. It's like you gotta like you gotta live life, not just like walk through it or run through it.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, even though people back then may have been out there and been working and had a purpose or whatever, they still had their own problems and probably wish that, like, hey, I wish I lived in the future where everything is probably great. Um, so I guess it just kind of goes back to living every day and being present in it and finding the good parts of it and not focusing on what it could be, I guess, and just living with what it is.
Yeah.
There's this really old dude that comes into my workplace all the time, every single morning. He comes in and gets his senior coffee, his free little hot senior coffee. I'll see him walking in and I'm like, all right, you better start brewing the coffee because you gotta get it. But I remember the first time I met him, he's like the sweetest old guy. He's so funny, he's so kind, and he's always looking for a conversation even when we're extremely busy. He came in, I finished taking up his order, and he started talking to me. He's like, oh, like, when did you start working here? How long have you been working here? And, like, I don't know. I think he was just looking for someone to talk to. And he's like, hey, what's your story or something? And we were finishing up talking. It only lasted, like, a couple minutes or whatever. And he said, you ever heard that Mark Twain quote? And I'm like, oh, which one? And he's like, it goes, there's, like, 2 most important days of your life. And it's the day you were born and the day you figure out your why. And I was like, oh, that's a really good one. And then he looks at me and he's like, so what's your why? And I said, oh, this is a very good question for 8 in the morning. I was like, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. And sure enough, he came back the very next day. And I think it's a very good quote for a lot of people who aren't Christians, but a lot of people who are Christians. Because you could be like, if you are a Christian, you could be like, oh, my why is just, like, living for Jesus every single day and showing others how to be more like him or whatever. But, like, are you actually doing that? Is that, like, your actual why, or are you just focused on, like, what your job's going to be, how much money you're going to make, what you're filling your days with, who you're hanging out with, what you're doing in your life? When, like, what is your why? Like, why are you doing all of that? And I think when you realize that, it just, I don't know, it just sets you in the perfect mindset. But yeah.
Did you give him your why?
I did give him my why.
What's
I
your
came
why?
up with a good why. I was like, well, I'm a Christian, of course, so, like, my why is to just, like, spend time with God every single day. And I think a good why is, like, if people, like, if someone you didn't even know met you, would they know that you're a Christian? And I think that's another big why for me, like, is, like, living out my life how Jesus would want me to live out my life. And actually showing people that I'm like that.
Yeah.
So,
Talking the talk and walking the walk, you could say.
exactly.
How do you guys feel about that? Like, in your own personal life, how do you feel like you're tackling that? I mean, I can go first if you want, but, like, for me, like it's like a given that we're supposed to be doing that as Christians, but, like, I don't know what you guys think. It's a hard thing to do, especially anymore. Like, it feels like you just gotta, if you were gonna, like, talk to someone. So I'll give you an example. I went on a trip back in November, and I was on a plane. I was sitting up by myself. My friend was in the back, and there was these 2 guys in front of me, 2 college students. And right when we landed, I didn't hear how the conversation started, but he basically asked them, like, oh, what do you believe in? And 2, like, around my age, I'd say they're probably, like, early 20s. Excuse me. And he's like, so, like, what do you believe in? And I think the guy said he was Hindu, I think. And he's like, okay. And he's like, so, like, explain your religion to me or whatever, real quick. And he gave him a little, like, outline of it and stuff. And I don't exactly remember what he said next, but all I know is, like, it was crazy hearing what he was saying. you don't don't necessarily like think on a day-to-day basis of an example of like where God like guides you, but like God guided that guy to saying the right things to him. Like as a believer myself, like I was like, wow, like he is
It's
saying
really cool seeing that happen.
some crazy stuff, and like this is stuff that I should be doing, but I do not feel equipped to be able to offer this stuff to a day-to-day guy, because like this guy is out here evangelizing to people, and as much as I want to, I don't feel like I have the skills to do that. You know,
when you think about it, it's like if someone came to Christ like this very morning, if say you're talking to like this new Christian who just became one like that very day, if they acted like exactly like you, if they did every single thing that you did, how would they turn out? Would they just be the same that they were, or would they be like, I don't know, farther along in their faith? But that's what I'm trying to like figure out. Like if someone who is a new Christian acted exactly like how I acted on a day-to-day basis, how would they turn out, and would I be proud of the way they were acting?
Truth. It's a good thing to think about. Yeah, I know it's like kind of cliche to say, but spending your time in the Word every single day does help so much.
It does help.
But it's so hard to get into it and actually be consistent. It's like starting out at the gym, or like waking up early every day. It's just something that you have to commit to, because there's gonna be things in your way that stop you. Like sometimes I'll try to wake up early and read my Bible and pray and have quiet time, and then there's just something that kind of just stops me.
Hit the snooze button.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'm like,
you can do it later.
I could do it later, and then I put it off, and then it's next week, and I haven't picked up my Bible since Sunday. And it's just committing, I guess. It's gonna be so hard, but once you do, it's like it's probably the biggest thing that could happen in your life. And I've kind of hit a wall where I haven't been like reading my Bible every day, or even praying, or even like thinking about God. Like I just don't think about it that much. And then I find the weeks or the days that I do, like my mood has improved and my stress isn't there as much, or like I'm saying things that I normally probably wouldn't say, and stuff like that. So
you want it to be more of just a Sunday thing. Like you want your faith stretch out all 7 days of the week instead of just one day. Where you all come together, you open your Bible, you read it, you close it, you go home, you forget everything that happened that morning through the like next 6 days before you do it all over again. So
yeah.
Satan is really moving in this world nowadays. Like if you just look, everything in our lives right now is built to distract. And the biggest one is like the phone. That is like the big one. Like that is there for your distraction. There's no reason that you should have that, like the access to the stuff that we do besides a distraction. And I know me personally, like nothing about scrolling or anything truly benefits me. Sure, I can like make the excuse like, oh, I learned such and so, and you do get good at stuff. And depending on how you use it, you can use it as a tool. But if you're being completely honest with yourself, like for me, at least 9 times out of 10, I am not using that tool productively. I'm using it as an escape, a distraction, and just a way to kill time and just honestly just burn time. Like it's like literally like taking your life and cutting bits off it and just throwing it in the fire, you know? Because in the end, like I couldn't tell you the last like video I scrolled through, and I've spent like hours on it already, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's such like a scary thing, because like it's just like society anymore, you know? That's a normal thing. Like you're weird if you don't like scroll or whatever, you know? Or you're an outcast if you don't know the latest memes or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And it is all built to keep you away from the stuff that's important, keep your mind full of just in and out, just trash coming in, and ignoring God's voice in your head. And like we are like the biggest like victims to that stuff, and we fall prey to it nonstop. And I guess all I can say is like, you know, like it's like the end times, you know, especially like anymore, you know, like this is like serious stuff, and it's all new stuff, and it's just growing so fast. It's getting implanted now, you know, and it's all like biblical, and it's crazy seeing it come together, but also scary because like I don't know how you guys feel about like the end times and stuff, but for me, I have a very hard time accepting that because it's a very selfish way of thinking. For me, I think billions of people got to live their life and do all the things and experience it. Why am I the one that's not going to have that chance? You know? And I know like everybody else on the world would be the same, but like I can't help but feel just very torn about that whole subject because like I know it's not going to matter in the end, but like thinking about it right now, like that's something that bothers me a lot. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's something that I've always like have honestly worried about a little bit. And again, I know we shouldn't, but like deep down I can't help but think like I'm going to miss out on all my opportunities. But it just takes stepping back and realizing that's like the plan and that's how it's supposed to be, and that's something that we should want, but like not want it to the point where we want to speed it up. We want it on God's time, you know, when He decides.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. My dad is a big end time kind of nerd. He has this big book that he got from the Creation Museum, and it spans from the beginning of the Bible to the very end. And sometimes he'll bring it out and he'll be like, all right, so I know we're coming to the end time, so let's review what's going to happen. And I'm not saying that it was a bad thing, but it definitely scared me. And so I would often talk to my mom about it, or my mom would bring it up and she'd say, it's not something to be scared about, it's just something to think about. Just because the world is going to end doesn't mean it's going to happen when you're alive, you know? It could happen tomorrow, it could happen in 100 years, you never know. So to me, I've kind of accepted it. I don't really feel scared about it because I know it's God's plan, and whatever He has planned for my life will happen, and I will be content with that in the end. But it's just your perspective on it and just coming to terms with it, I guess. But
That's good.
yeah.
What do you think, guys?
Ooh, good
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Got anything else? Any like specific topics? That was all good stuff, by the way. I think that was like a really solid tackle of the
How do
goal
we
I
even
had in
get
mind.
there? That's like crazy.
I don't even know. It's
That's
probably
like-
gonna be something stupid.
I know.
It's like it went from crap down the leg through the pants to like the end times.
Yeah, that was like 40 minutes ago, that stupid story that you're telling.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Crazy
that was
work.
funny. That was a good story. And then boom, end times.
Yeah.
Hey,
good.
you know?
I took a pretty
Thanks for
sharp
talking
turn to
about
get here, I'm pretty sure. I just put like a wet rag on
You're
all the
like,
fun, and I was like, all right, serious topic.
Alright, guys, I want to talk about serious stuff.
But,
That was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys have seasonal allergies?
No.
Yes.
No?
Oh.
I have to take the what's it called? Zyrtec pills
Oh.
or Claritin. I forget what it's called. But if I don't, it's game over, and I look like I had a cold. I have the watery eyes.
Ooh.
It's terrible.
I cooked myself the other night. I left my windows open. And I woke up and my
Oh.
what are these called? Glands? Or I think they're just glands,
Or
but like
nasal glands.
they were all swollen.
Your
My eyes are
tonsils?
puffy. No, there's like some kind of like allergy related gland here
okay.
that swells up because I scratch my throat. It's really weird, but I don't know. I do it in my sleep, and like now it like destroyed me. So
Okay.
You left your window open.
yeah, it was
Wasn't
nice
it like,
though.
Oh,
It was that really warm day.
oh,
It was, like,
yeah.
really
I
nice.
was like,
Okay.
yesterday was cold.
I woke up though. It was that windy morning. It was Friday to Saturday night. And my curtains were like up in my room, like flapping in the wind.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
crazy
I
work.
just remember falling asleep to like 70-degree weather and then waking up having to scrape the ice off my car to get to work because I slept in because I thought it would be nice. Nope.
Nope.
Bipolar Ohio.
Yeah, we're almost to the end of it.
I have my weather app can like do an estimate on like upcoming weather, and I looked in April and it's like 70% like rainy days.
Oh.
Hey,
Like I
spring
see like 4
showers.
sunny days. Like it's like 1 sunny day a week.
Spring showers.
Rations.
Mayflowers.
Gotta get hyped for
I
that.
really wish the trees would bloom.
I know this
Yeah.
is terrible.
It sucks. It
It's
feels
so
like a
sad.
nice like end of like summer day, like a
I
fall
know,
day.
It feels like
Right.
a beginning of fall day.
I don't like this at all. I
Yes.
want to see some like green stuff coming
It
in.
feels weird.
Yeah.
Besides that nasty moss on those trees over there.
Oh, it's
The rotting
diabolical.
trees.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're
Slowly
almost
but
there.
surely.
What are we at? Like the 3rd week of the month or 2nd?
Third.
It's the
Third,
third week
okay.
of March.
Crazy,
July.
crazy.
So we're about to be in what? May?
Whoa, April?
April.
Maple.
April.
We're in April. My goodness.
It's gonna be April. It's gonna be Easter.
That's crazy. It's gonna be Easter. It's gonna be my birthday.
I keep forgetting about
Crazy.
April because I have so much stuff that's happening in May.
What's happening in May?
Well, we got basics and stuff if I'm still around. A lot of events. Then we got the VBC after that. Setting up for
And then
that.
what were we just talking
Just like-
about?
Everything in May, like everything starts in May for me at least.
Yeah.
So
He's gonna forget this whole podcast. Think about May, the whole month of April.
Next is June and July.
it's practically
It's March
September.
and June and July are coming up.
It's December already.
Yeah.
It's literally Christmas time.
Merry
what are you
Christmas.
talking about?
Hey,
But
it's
honestly,
26.
it's gonna
One
be
day
at
a
no time. I still remember back in like 2022, like saying like I worked at Chick-fil-A still.
Ooh.
And I told the one guy, I was like, watch this year fly by, and that was like January, like 2023.
Oh gosh.
And I still think about that like often. Like
Was
I'm
it
like,
25?
like man, I remember saying that not too long ago, and here it is, like 2025 now or whenever it is.
Crazy.
Like 2-3 years later.
Yeah.
Man, that year went by fast.
yeah.
It's crazy.
All right, I
Yeah,
think
it's
we could call that a wrap. What do you guys think?
It's
That was
good.
What are we
Good
at?
one.
57
7.
minutes. We'll take it. All right.
Cool.
What are we thinking? Like another? You want to do a week or 2 weeks?
I don't know, because I feel like if we do 2 weeks, like.
Well, the last
make
2
it
weeks stretched
3.
out until like 1.5, 2.5, 3-ish.
That was kind of my fault, but it's okay.
We'll definitely try to get a new person on next time. I think. What do you think?
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Let's do it. That'd be great.
All right.
Dance needs to come on.
Sounds good. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Gotta walk all the way over here.
Oh,